Hey, what is up, guys? We are here with the Killer Instinct patch rundown for 2.4, which is the Aganos update. If you guys haven't checked out the patch notes yet, been too busy, too bored, too lazy, whatever it is, relax. I've got you covered. We're going to break this down right now. So let's start with something that's super important, but might be a little boring to some of you guys, which is the system changes. There was one big system change regarding opener enders and 3 different bug fixes this patch. This opener ender change is really important since last patch Omen came out and he has a grab that does 100% potential damage, as well as the changes to Fulgore's Devastation Beam. This change makes it so that opener enders no longer cash out potential damage. This is really important against Fulgore and Omen since they had ways to build up a bunch of potential damage, do opener ender, and the only counterplay to it was really to guess. The 3 bug fixes involved being able to block during your dashes in certain situations, having your shadow openers act as shadow enders, and a weird counterbreaker fix that made it so that certain counterbreak attempts were safe. Now we have some participation medals to give away to the characters who didn't receive any changes this patch. Jago, Glacius, Thunder, Sadira, and Orchid got no changes whatsoever. Even though they didn't get any buffs or nerfs, these characters will probably be stronger since almost every other character got some pretty decent nerfs. Next up is Saberwolf, who Iron Galaxy decided had too much bite and not enough bark. Saberwolf received a damage nerf on both his overpower as well as the overall damage buff he receives in Instinct from 20 to 10% and 20% down on his overpower. Just like his Season 1 counterpart, Spinal also receives some damage nerfs on both his normal and shadow steering skulls. Now you'll have to guess wrong 5 times around instead of 3. Yay. Next up are the changes to Fulgore and TJ combo. Seems like damage nerfs run in the family because Fulgore is also receiving an overall 10 to 15% drop in all of his damage. Fulgore is also receiving bug fixes that prevented his Devastation Beam from coming out, as well as a bug fix to his throw in the corner. TJ Combo is receiving a bug fix that prevented him from comboing pretty easily after his Flying Knee linkers. Next up, we have the Maya changes. Maya's changes were to prevent her from doing super long dagger juggles outside of Instinct. The first change makes it so that she builds less meter on hit or block when she throws a dagger, and the second change is that her rolling dagger toss now shoots the dagger farther back so she can't catch it to continue the juggle. Next up, we have the 2 Con Raw changes. The first change is the height your character pops up after Sand Spike to prevent weird juggles he could get against certain characters. The second change is an increase in the amount of recovery frames on his command throw. This is to prevent guaranteed setups that he had against certain characters with some of his knockdown setups. Next up, we have the Riptor changes, and Riptor received a ton of them. She has the most by far in this patch. There was a couple of bug fixes and a couple of nerfs. The main nerfs is that all of her heavy attack buttons have less hit and block stun to prevent a lot of lockdown sequences Riptor had, as well as her Flame Carpet no longer allowing you to just meaty them for free. Opponents can jump out of it now, which means Riptor actually has to commit to a normal to lock you down on your wake up. A couple of bug fixes are there to prevent certain things from being shadow counterable and a bunch of unbreakables. There's a long list of stuff, and I definitely recommend you guys checking this stuff out for yourself. And finally, we have Omen. Omen received a bunch of bug fixes, but the most notable one is that his medium punch auto double is now much easier to break, since that was a pretty big problem last patch. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you want to read the patch notes in their entirety, there'll be a link in the description. See you guys soon.